Tensions between the Philippines and China have been escalating. Rehisha gets you all the details. Over to you, Rehisha.
Thanks, Shivan. We have been reporting on the rising tensions in the South China Sea, which is a hotbed of territorial disputes. And it is now witnessing escalating tensions between the Philippines and China. Well, the face-off between the two countries in the South China Sea continues to snowball and threatens to spiral out of control, raising concerns about a potential collision in course. And in the latest dispute, both the US and UK, they both have condemned what the high seas assault against Manila's fisheries vessels over the weekend in the South China Sea. But the paramount question here is, why is the South China Sea so important? We break it down for you in the next few minutes. Well, number one, it is one of the most crucial economic and environmental regions in the world. Here, the South China Sea, surrounded by China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Philippines, and Indonesia. Now, this area is extremely important. The South China Sea contains some of the world's most important shipping lanes. And the main route to and from Pacific and Indian Ocean ports is through the Strait of Malacca here. And the South China Sea, more than half of the world's fishing vessels are in the South China Sea as well. Apart from this, millions of people, they depend on these waters here for food and livelihoods. Well, large reserves of oil and natural gas, they have been discovered under the floor of the South China Sea here, which is surrounded by various countries. Now, since South China Sea holds such high importance, it has been a conflict-ridden year between China and the Philippines. Let's tell you about the incidents that have occurred between both the countries. Well, on the 10th of December, a Philippines boat and a Chinese Coast Guard ship collided near a contested reef. The Chinese Coast Guard also used water cannon on 3 Philippines vessels in the month of December, 10th of December, the latest incident. And this caused serious engine damage of a disputed shoal in the South China Sea. Not only this, while 3 months ago, that is in the month of September, the Philippines Coast Guard removed a floating barrier installed by China, calling it a decisive action in upholding international law. Well, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. instructed the Philippines Coast Guard to remove the 980-foot long barrier that we're talking about here at the entrance to the lagoon at Scarborough Shoal. They also accused the Chinese Coast Guard of preventing Filipinos from entering the area and fishing. They restricted their movement in that area. While in the month of August, for the first time, it was recorded that China used water cannon against a Philippine ship, and the ship was resupplying Philippine Marines onto the Sierra Madre area there. The Philippine Foreign Affairs Department called an emergency hotline established during President Marcos' Beijing trip. But after that incident happened, China failed to answer for 6 hours. Well, if we go further back, one of the first swarms recorded this year was in the month of March, wherein China sent a combination of Coast Guard, Navy and militia vessels to surround a site or block and cut off target ships from the area. When over 40 Chinese vessels, they gathered at the Thitu Island in the South China Sea. And finally, in the month of February, China flashed a military-grade laser at a Philippine Coast Guard vessel, which was approaching the second Thomas Shoal, which blinds the crew for a short while. Well, a laser attack is typically seen as hostile because as it can also precede firing on a target. Well, these were the latest incidents of rising tensions between Philippines and China.